This is Story Recapped. Today I'm going to explain an action, comedy fantasy film called The Fly. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. A young girl in India has difficulty sleeping, so her father tells her a story about a wealthy real estate mogul named Sudeep and an extraordinary fly. While Sudeep practices clay shooting one day, his business partner interrupts him to let him know they have a board meeting. Suddenly, Sudeep sees an attractive woman shooting clay nearby, so he seduces her while teaching her how to shoot. When the woman leaves, she hints that she wants to see Sudeep there again. In Hyderabad, a young woman named Bindu finishes her miniature artwork of a cylinder with a heart-shaped hole. Her sister-in-law tells her that it looks good, but Bindu isn't satisfied because she wants to combine it with another heart. When the power suddenly goes out, Nani, their neighbor across the street, puts a foil on a satellite dish and attaches a flashlight on the device to shine the light toward Bindu's house so she can continue working on her art. After working on her miniature for a while, Bindu closes the window and goes to bed. Nani feels satisfied with what he did for Bindu, but his friend scolds him because he's been flirting with her for 2 years, but she never even bothers to look at him. Nani, however, is confident that Bindu cares for him and tells his friend that she only closed her window because she doesn't want him to get sick by staying up all night to watch over her. One night, Sudeep hosts a party for his friends and potential investors. His business partner points out that one of their guests refuses to sign their contract, but the guest soon approaches them to hand over the signed documents. Afterward, the guest introduces Sudeep to his wife. His partner immediately recognizes her as the woman Sudeep seduced at the range and realizes that Sudeep used his charm so the wife would convince her husband to sign the papers. Sudeep notes that the only woman who wouldn't fall for him is his wife. He discloses that he fell in love with her at first sight, but his attention turned to her wealth after he grew tired of her. Sudeep then reveals that he asked his wife to give him her properties, but she told him he'd only get it over her dead body. One day, Nani visits Bindu at her non-profit organization to make a small donation. While Bindu tells him how they spend their funds, Nani sends her a text to tell her how beautiful she is. A while later, Bindu's sister-in-law arrives to inform her that Sudeep Constructions is making a large donation to her organization. She then urges her to meet their boss and gives her Sudeep's business card so she can get in touch with him. Soon, Bindu arrives at Sudeep's office to convince him to donate to her non-profit. Sudeep is in an important meeting, but he asks his associates to leave the room so he can be alone with Bindu. Sudeep is instantly captivated by Bindu's beauty, so he makes a large donation without paying attention to her, as she explains the objectives of her non-profit. To express her gratitude, Bindu gives him one of her miniature artworks. Sudeep starts following Bindu around as her organization distributes books to children. One day, he invites Bindu to have lunch with him. When they go to a restaurant, Nani sends Bindu a text to tell her that he's also there. Bindu asks Sudeep if they can move to another table because she feels uncomfortable. However, her real purpose for moving is to see Nani as he and his co-workers set up fireworks at the restaurant. Sudeep attempts to flirt with Bindu, but he soon realizes that she's not paying attention to him when he sees her exchanging looks with Nani. Bindu ends up working late at the office one night, so she decides to send a message to Nani because she's afraid of going home on her own. When Nani comes running, she pretends she sent a message by mistake, but she sends him some signals that she wants him to walk her home. After taking Bindu home, Nani gets abducted by thugs and brought to an abandoned property. As the thugs hold on to him, Sudeep beats him and expresses his frustration that he couldn't win Bindu's heart because of him. Despite his dire situation, Nani threatens to kill Sudeep if he doesn't stay away from Bindu. As Sudeep continues to beat him up, Nani receives a text from Bindu. Sudeep reads the message aloud, letting Nani know that Bindu is expressing her love for him as he crushes Nani's throat with his foot. Soon after Nani dies, his soul gets transferred to a larva in a nearby puddle. The next morning, Bindu learns about Nani's death when she sees his body being taken away by the authorities. Days later, Nani turns into a housefly and emerges from his cocoon. Before he can even fly, Nani encounters threats from the humans in the environment. When he lands on an apple, Nani ends up getting chased by a bird, so he enters a house through a broken screen on a window. While Nani is sipping water in a jug, he ends up being mixed into a glass of tea. When he sees that the man about to drink the tea is Sudeep, he immediately remembers what he did to him in his previous life. Nani tries to attack him, but Sudeep just swats him away. Nani starts recalling Bindu when he sees her artwork in Sudeep's office. Nani soon flies to Bindu's house and tries to capture her attention while she prepares to go to work. When Nani follows her to the office, he sees Sudeep trying to convince her to forget about him. As Sudeep tries to console Bindu, Nani flies around his ears to keep him from touching her. Nani only stops bothering him when he gets caught in a spider web, but he manages to break free after Sudeep leaves. The following day, Sudeep invites Bindu to come to Delhi with him the next day to meet the education minister. Bindu accepts the invitation, knowing that it will help her non-profit. That night, Nani flies around Sudeep's face to keep him from falling asleep and stop him from going to Delhi with Bindu. After failing to drive away the fly for hours, Sudeep wraps himself like a mummy so that he can sleep in peace. A few hours later, Bindu calls Sudeep to remind him that they have a flight to Delhi in half an hour. As Sudeep heads to the airport, Nani causes a traffic jam by flying around the traffic officer and causing him to direct all vehicles at the intersection to move simultaneously. The traffic stops moving, so Sudeep leaves his car on the road and borrows another vehicle from a friend. As he goes on his way, Sudeep notices Nani in the car, so he opens the window and blows cigarette smoke on him to force him out. Nani ends up on the road, but he manages to hitch a ride on a vehicle that seems to be part of a convoy escorting a politician. When the vehicle catches up to Sudeep, Nani flies to the grates on the hood to make his way back inside the car. Soon, Nani flies close to Sudeep's eye, causing him to slap himself while he's driving. Sudeep's car crashes into the opposite lane and smashes into a truck, but the airbag saves him from serious injuries. Nani then strikes fear into Sudeep's heart by writing, "I will kill you," on the dust-covered windshield. Soon after Sudeep gets home from the accident, he starts carrying a fly repellent. Bindu visits him that day and notices the repellent in his hand, so Sudeep explains that a fly has been bothering him. When Bindu sees the fly approaching, she takes the repellent from Sudeep's hand and sprays it into the insect. As the poison takes effect, Nani drifts out of the house and lands on a leaf in the garden. A moment later, Bindu gets out of the house and accidentally turns on the sprinklers that washes away the poison on Nani's body. Sudeep visits an entomologist to ask if flies target humans specifically, but the scientist only causes him to doubt his own sanity. That night, he visits the junkyard to inspect the wrecked car. A man wearing a hooded robe suddenly appears and asks Sudeep to come with him. When Sudeep refuses, the man tells him that he'll eventually come with him when his face gets smeared by soot. After the man leaves, Sudeep finds part of the windshield with Nani's writing and realizes that he didn't imagine it. When Nani visits Bindu at home, he finds her crying because the locket that she made for him was broken. Nani writes a message using her tears to reveal that he has been reborn as a fly. After making sense of her situation, Bindu asks Nani if he died in an accident, so Nani tries his best to explain without using words that Sudeep killed him. Soon, Bindu starts helping Nani avenge himself against Sudeep. She creates goggles to protect Nani's eyes from the repellent and builds exercise machines for him to make him stronger. Nani trains himself regularly on the machines, but he spends most of his time tormenting Sudeep. Apart from the goggles, Bindu also attaches sharp blades on Nani's front legs, so he can cause a lot of damage when he attacks Sudeep. Nani and Bindu soon come up with a plan to kill Sudeep with a miniature cannon in his house. While Nani is filling the cannon with gunpowder, Sudeep sees him and surmises that he's using it as a hideout. Sudeep stuffs a cannonball into the device to kill him, but he emerges from the hole on the top. Nani soon attempts to light the cannon while it's pointed at Sudeep, but he abandons his plan when one of the thugs stuffs it with toilet paper. To prevent the fly from entering the house, Sudeep installs airtight windows and a scanner to prevent the fly from entering with his visitors. When Nani tells Bindu about the new security measures, she visits Sudeep to help Nani get in. Soon after Bindu enters the house, she goes to the window and covertly removes a screw to allow Nani to get in through the hole. When he gets inside, Nani immediately gets into Sudeep's clothes and scratches him with blades. Sudeep can't entertain Bindu because of Nani's attack, so he sends her away. Nani immediately escapes through the window before Sudeep's thugs can get to him. During an important meeting with investors, Sudeep wears a motorcycle helmet to protect himself from the fly, but his partner forcibly takes it off. After Sudeep gives a presentation, Nani suddenly appears and lands on an investor's head. Due to his desire to kill the fly, Sudeep tries swatting it while it's on the investor's head, to the shock of his other business partners. Nani lands on the heads of other investors, prompting Sudeep to hit them too. Due to the disastrous meeting, one of the investors advises the income tax commissioner to conduct a raid in Sudeep's office. Sudeep attempts to open his electronic safe to take out all the cash. As he enters his password, Nani flies all over the keyboard to distract him. After several failed attempts to enter the correct password, Sudeep eventually gets locked out of the safe, so he uses an acetylene torch to burn the locks. Nani continues to distract Sudeep, causing him to drop the torch on the door handle. As Sudeep tries to swat away the fly, the torch burns through the door and sets fire to the money inside the safe. By the time Sudeep breaks the lock, all the money inside has burned to cinders. As he wipes his face, Sudeep remembers the mysterious man who told him that he would come to see him when his face is smeared with soot. That night, Sudeep visits the mysterious man and tells him that his words have come true. The man, who appears to be a witch doctor, then takes Sudeep to the place where he killed Nani and informs him that Nani has been reborn as a fly. Later, the witch doctor goes with Sudeep to his house to perform a ritual to take control of two birds to chase after the fly. Nani tries to evade one of the birds by flying close to a fire. The bird lights up in flames, so it extinguishes the fire by flying into a powder. The other bird gets stuck when it follows Nani into a narrow pole. Moments later, the bird emerges from the powder and continues chasing Nani. The bird eventually catches Nani with its beak, but the bird runs into an electric socket and causes a short circuit. Nani flees from the room as the electronic doors start to malfunction. As the two men scramble to find another way out, the witch doctor accidentally falls on a broken bottle and dies. Due to the smoke filling the room, Sudeep passes out by the door. Thinking that Sudeep is dead, Nani meets with Bindu to tell her that he's already accomplished his goal. Later, Sudeep's business partner arrives outside the house and finds Sudeep unconscious, so he immediately breaks it with a sledgehammer. When Sudeep wakes up, his partner tells him that he would have died if he had been a few minutes late. The partner starts berating him for his obsession with the fly, but he soon realizes it's a real threat when they see the fly with a mask and weapons in the security footage. As they continue watching the footage, they discover that Bindu helped the fly get into the house days ago. His partner offers to help him take care of the investors who turned on them before dealing with the fly, but Sudeep kills him to collect insurance money from his death. Later, Sudeep visits Bindu and invites her back to his house, claiming that he wants to discuss something important. When they get there, Sudeep shows her the video of the fly with goggles and hints that he knows that Bindu made them for the fly because she is a micro artist. Bindu attempts to stab him with a box cutter, but Sudeep fends off the attack and grabs her. Sudeep threatens to cut Bindu's throat if Nani doesn't emerge, so Nani soon appears and lands close to his feet to show that he's willing to be crushed in exchange for Bindu's life. As Sudeep attempts to stomp on him with his bare foot, Nani grabs a needle and points it upward. The needle pierces Sudeep's foot, allowing Bindu to break free from his grip. Sudeep shoots Nani with a gun, but he misses. The bullet hits a circuit box, causing the power to go out. Equipped with night vision glasses, Sudeep continues looking for Nani and fires his gun at him whenever he finds him, but Nani manages to evade every shot. The tissue paper in the miniature cannon falls out after the item drops to the ground. When Sudeep runs out of bullets, Nani throws a cannonball at him. Sudeep dodges the ball, but it hits an electric wire and causes a short circuit, which in turn starts a chain reaction that causes the chandelier to fall on Sudeep. Sudeep instructs his men to look for Bindu, since she has no way of escaping from the house. Nani starts attacking Sudeep with a needle, but he catches him with a magnet from a speaker. Nani's legs get caught under the needle, preventing him from flying away. Soon, Sudeep finds Bindu, so he takes her to a table and forces her to watch as he tortures Nani. Sudeep begins by cutting off one of Nani's wings with glass. Since Nani can no longer fly, Sudeep releases him from the magnet and tries to stab him with a needle. Bindu begs him to stop, but he decides to put the needle in her hands and forces her to impale Nani. After Bindu takes off the needle, the injured Nani communicates with her through sign language to tell her to run for cover. Sudeep sees Nani coating himself with gunpowder, so he lights up a match to set him on fire. Before Sudeep lights him up, Nani runs toward the flame and jumps into the cannon, causing it to fire a projectile into Sudeep. Bindu and Sudeep's thugs immediately run for cover when they see the cannonball go through Sudeep's body and hit a gas tank. Soon, the gas explodes, killing Sudeep and destroying the house. When Bindu emerges, she sees Nani's wing floating in the air, so she takes it and puts it in a pendant. While Bindu is riding her motorcycle one day, a man suddenly starts harassing her. Before long, a fly emerges and flies into the man's eye, causing him to fall to the ground. The man runs off when Nani, who has been reborn as another fly, threatens to pierce the man's eye with a needle.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.